Hello, good evening and welcome back to Tarot Tats and Tea and to the next instalment of our Ancestral Grimoire. My grimoire's coming on pretty cool. I've completed winter, I'm now into spring. Working for spring, I'm covering the months of March, April and May. I'm sort of combining them together rather than putting them as three separate sections, because that's what I chose to do, to use them as seasons as opposed to working by months. So for this one we're going to need quite a lot of things because, like I say, I'm putting them all together as one, grouping them together. So we will need, let me go through here, for the whole lot together you will need tarot, pendulum, oracle and finger labyrinth. You will need again tarot, pendulum and chakras, and you will need again tarot, oracle and message in wax. Oh, that sounds interesting. I haven't got that far yet. So what have I been doing? I've been quite busy actually, because this project is not just creating a grimoire. I'm very lucky in the fact that I'm retired and I can get to spend time away from the table doing things and activities that my ancestors might have done. Since I last spoke to you, as you know, I love my greenhouse and doing a whole load of foraging and stuff. Yes, I've made my pestos, I've been foraging for wild garlic, I've made my pestos, I've made homemade bread, I have planted 3 apple trees, a cherry tree and a plum tree. I've planted kumquat and a limequat and a lemon tree, and I have sown new seeds for sweet corn, for tomatoes, for peas, sprouts and leeks. They're all in my greenhouse, and I've been taking a huge interest in all things gardening. My plants, I've planted lots of bulbs, I'm watching their growth, and there is a beautiful movement, and you're seeing this growth. It's almost like magic, and getting in touch with our sort of earthly side, I suppose. But as it happens, this first part of spring we're looking at personal magic, which is healing, but then we move into the second part of spring and we're looking at land magic. So you know, these all play a role in our daily lives. So let's have a look. We start off at the beginning of spring with ancestors who can heal. So we go through different activities that we carry out with the tarot, and that's explained in the book as you go through. And again, like we have done in the past, we use tarot cards to discover who was the healer in our family. So for me, an ancestor who could heal. Now for this part, remember, I needed tarot, pendulum, oracle and finger labyrinth. Personal magic, healing magic. So the Page of Pentacles, okay, loves learning for the sake of learning, studious, quiet, rarely gets into trouble, can get lost in the distant past or in the far future, loves new ideas, will perhaps look up one topic and get, you know, can be found to be studying that for hours on end, and then sort of take in a new topic, but then can get a little bit lost because they're so involved in this one area. So what sort of personality would you expect someone like this to have? Well, you'd look, to be serious, a serious approach to life. They see life as an opportunity to gain experience regardless of topic, and comfort found in knowledge, previously written knowledge, historic history, or as we're doing, ancestral knowledge. Can be, however, a loner in a world immersed in books, loves nature, gets lost in research, prefers to do this than socialise. And to be quite honest with you, part of that could describe me. Gone is the party person who used to love drinking everybody under the table. Now it's a world of nature, becoming far more spiritual in my outlook, and having a more, since I retired, having a more solitary life. And I'm actually finding I enjoy my own company more. I love my books, I love my tarot, and this really is describing myself. But we're looking at an ancestor, so whoever this ancestor is, this would, I would envisage being the personality traits. So, what healing challenge did our ancestor face? For that I drew the Lover's card. And here I used the pendulum, okay? So, the Lover's card, that's somebody who's an air sign. It's the sign of the astrological sign of Gemini, and it's based on relationships. So it's somebody that can be a little bit on the flighty side, I suppose, but likes to be working with another person at times. So you're using the pendulum now. Were your healing challenges affairs of the heart? Pendulum swung a yes. Were they solely affiliated to that of the heart? No. Were the challenges working on feelings for yourself and others, and multiple challenges when it came to emotions? And there were a load of questions that I asked there, and there was, does the Lover's card accurately depict the challenges you faced as a healer? Maybe. Okay. Should I put a second Mage Arcana to further highlight your healing challenge? So I did. I drew the Fool. Does the Fool aptly depict the challenges that you endured? Yes, they did. Well, it would, wasn't it? Constant learning, stepping into new things. Is this due to you getting easily distracted by other topics, solutions to problems, and being easily distracted? Yes. Would you say, I am like you? Yes. And what did I say? I was more or less describing myself. Are you part of my bloodline? Yes. Are you Welsh? No. Are you Irish? Yes. So there was a lot of questions made up to use with my pendulum, and I just found that there was again, it's from the Celtic side to my family. Now, personally, how do I fit in with that? You know, what am I suited to? Well, I use Reiki. I am fairly spiritual and I meditate. I love lots of herbal cures and herbal remedies, herbal eating, and I love tarot. So all these things, I asked the same thing with the pendulum board of the Ancestral Grimoire, and that too gave exactly the same answers. Okay, so for me, herbalism, spiritualism, meditation are my loves, along with tarot. Reiki comes a very close second. So my ancestor had all that right about me. Now, with the Lovers being a major arcana that the ancestor works through, it proves to be challenging at this, as this covers a plethora of areas: emotions, affairs of the heart, self-love, recognising and accepting both our light and dark sides, anger, calm, etc. To underpin this, I drew a second major, which was the Fool, getting folk not to be, to not be too carefree and understand that at times a serious side is needed. And the type of healing my ancestor worked with was depicted through 3 minor arcanas, because you then go what type of healing, you pick your minors. 7 of Swords reveals an understanding that is aimed at me, okay? An understanding of me. 5 of Wands, not afraid to go against the tide to make a point, or to be what's that? I can't even read my writing there. To make a point or to be heard. 8 of Cups, teaching when to walk away from what no longer helps a person, and encouraging the travelling of a new path, maybe a more peaceful path, manageable paths for myself. So those were all aspects of healing through the different tarot minor arcana. You then get to do the healer's spread, which is a 6-card spread. Well, you can have anything from, I think it's 5 to 9 cards. I opted to go for 6, and then I had the 6 questions. What are we working together to solve? So I had my own. I then asked the questions, okay, and my 6 personal questions gave me the answers. Okay, so I drew the cards for the answers, turned the card over for each of the answers to the questions. There's one there, am I a healer? And that was the King of Pentacles, very earthly, very an earthy card, who is mastering or has mastered the skills of variety of earthy activities. Okay, how do I heal? And it was the 3 of Swords. I sort of think 3 of Swords, it's this stage. Let's have a look. So how would that work? That was card 3, wasn't it? How do I heal? 4, sorry, question 4. Through removing the pain of others through gentleness and healing. So it, how do you heal? You heal those with broken hearts, emotionally low, those that are feeling lack of confidence, building them up, etc., etc. So those were all the questions that were asked and answered. And then I decided to look at a symbol, and I have a symbol on here on my wax seal. It's here somewhere on my table, and it's a Triskelion, okay, which is the 3 circles that are all sort of depicting motion. But there's 3 aspects to it, so it's like past, present and future. It's the movement of things happening in 3s, sort of life, death and rebirth, no beginning and no end. And what I did, I decided to draw that and add that into here with a few keynotes and my wax seal example there. I don't know if you can see it there. There you go. There you can. Now, just to give you a heads up, I managed to find some post-it notes that are see-through. So if you want something from your book that you don't feel like going and photocopying, you can just stick one of these post-it notes over and just trace over it and then add them into your journal. I've done that a couple of times in here. So those are easily available on Amazon, transparent post-it notes. We then went on to look at ancestral guidance using a 3-card spread, and I asked for guidance for the week ahead. What do I have to focus on? What outcome can I expect? And then I also used charm casting to deepen the reading. And that was one that I'd taken from earlier activities from the winter Ancestral Grimoire, because I'm sort of working through, I was having a break, and I thought, right, give me some information for today. How can you advise me today? And taking what I've learned previously and still using it, albeit that was done in the winter months, I'm still carrying it through to spring, and I'll probably use it throughout the year. I did the healer spread a second time because I just felt the first time it was a little bit wonky and all over the place, and sometimes some of it didn't always make an ounce of sense. So I thought, right, I reduced at first I had used, oh gosh, I think I used 7 cards, and that's when I decided to ramp it down and go for 5. So I had 6 cards I used, and I wanted to bring it down to 5. So the reason I wanted to do this a second reading, and I used the Tarot of the Abyss, was for personal questions for me and to do with healing. Now, I asked questions that I won't share these because these were personal to me and my own health, and everything that came up came true. It was very, very it was quite amazing, to be quite honest with you, and all good too. And it's just to give you all a heads up, because I know that I had mentioned it, I had found a lump in my neck. This one on this side is actually tissue that's sort of knotted together and has formed a lump. But during the scan, because they were very thorough, they found a very tiny little inflamed lymph node, which is I am being sent for a CT scan for that. So I'm not concerned about it at all. I'm quite happy that it'll be okay, and things will carry on. So all these things, and it was in question 4 where it actually told me about the CT scan. So this was all before I'd gone for my ultrasound. So that was really quite enlightening. What have I just dropped there? Post-it notes. Now, we then used oracle cards, okay? And the oracle cards I used to underpin the healing reading I did, and I only used 2 cards, and again they both came out very positive and very much underpinning the reading that I had. One of the sort of midway through spring, we get to the labyrinth, or the finger labyrinth, okay? So if you don't have a labyrinth nearby that you can just walk around, you can use the finger labyrinth. Now the finger labyrinth is in the back of the book, and once again I have taken one of these post-it notes and I've drawn it into here, okay? And what I used a fine pencil and to find my way to the centre of the labyrinth. Now, for me, this exercise was it really was great for relaxing the mind, and it was one where you had your pencil and you just actually, your mind might have been all over the place when you started it, but as you got into it, and you're just focusing on following the lines to get to the centre, and it's so intricate, and it's, before you know it, you're in the centre. You think, how the heck did I get there? And you're looking back, did I cross a line? Some of you haven't. It just relaxes your mind so much. You just absent-mindedly focusing on that. And I could imagine that walking around a labyrinth would have a similar effect. It's not a maze. The difference between the labyrinth and the maze is you can come to a dead end and not know where to go, where a labyrinth is purely following an intricate path all the way to the centre of this circle. Whereas a maze, you could go down this way, have to turn back, go this way, go there, you know, and you could get lost, and that's when I would have a panic attack. So, like I say, what I wrote here was, for me, this proved to be an exercise in relaxing my mind, an exercise much needed after the last few weeks. At first, when attempting to use my pencil and focus my eyes on the labyrinth within the book on page 104, I kept losing my place. So, right, focus. Deep breathing was needed. I closed my eyes, took in 3 deep breaths, emptied my mind of babble, not easy at times, and then allowed my mind, eyes and body to relax, and I successfully arrived at the centre of the labyrinth. Thus, it left a feeling of calm and complete relaxation. The practice of clearing all the thoughts and just being adds to all the levels of healing. And my daily draws have been related to physical healing, have made sense, and have supported the findings and advice of the medical professionals, which has been great. So, what happened then? Then we moved on to elemental and land magic, the Earth Whisperer. For this, I didn't use my Robin Wood tarot for this. I keep going to say Robin Hood. My Robin Wood tarot for this. I used the Tarot of the Abyss, okay, because I find that is very earthy. And when I realised it's our Earth Healer and Earth Whisperer, I thought this will be a great deck to use for this section of spring. For this, it was a Knight of Cups. Sensitive empath, can pull on or control emotions of self and others, sensitive to the needs of others. Gender male, and I found that out through the supplementary cards. Those are the cards that we made in the beginning. Era 17th century, which is the 1600s, and again from the supplementary cards. And it's the equivalent of our perception of a hippie sort of healer through herbalism, tended to do their own thing, be able to encourage or coerce perhaps sometimes, because they can manipulate emotions, others into following. Could this be the reason I have a love for herbalism, plants, growing food, and using the older ways to heal in conjunction with modern ways? Qualities: more compassion and care for earth, its gifts and animals than for humans, who could be at times felt as foolish for not recognising the gifts of the earth. Healed animals and lived outside of towns. Now, in the 1600s, what sort of herbs would this person be collecting? We would be looking at hyssop, lavender, comfrey, fennel, including vegetables and flowers. I grow lavender and I grow fennel. I grow vegetables, I grow flowers. With that, I grow basils and chives and rosemary and thyme. I grow mint, 3 different varieties of mint and lemon balm. And there are going to be more added. Parsley and what else do I have? That's about it in the herbs at the moment. But how do I use my herbs? I have made wild garlic salt. I have made wild garlic pesto. I've made basil pesto, with my vegetables of chard and kale as well, which are really nice green vegetables and really earthy tasting. And I've also used the likes of apple cider vinegar for healing upset stomachs. I've used that as well, very watered down, for cleaning products in the home. I am currently making an apple cider cleanser and bug deterrent. If you suffer with ants that are eating your flowers or the roots of or anything of your plants, just put this apple cider vinegar and orange. I'm soaking orange peel inside it. So you just put that lightly down, spray it, and it repels them, and it repels slugs as opposed to killing things outright. If you water it down again and say put a teaspoon into a spray bottle with a drop of soap water, a soap dish, dishwashing up liquid, fill the bottle and spray that on your leaves, it will keep them, so it's keep them from being infested with green fly or any insects that are detrimental to the health of your plants. And all this is reverting back to using natural products as opposed to chemicals. When I say dishwashing liquid, I use the eco-friendly ones that basically all it does is it takes the ability for the insects to grip onto the plant. It makes it slippy, but it's just that oiliness of it. And these are, and slowly cutting out more chemicals. So foods that I'm eating a lot more that's been grown, and things that will be grown, so there's a lot of things that have changed, and particularly working in the garden I am finding so therapeutic, it's unreal. And these are things, like I say, the ancestors would have done themselves, and it's all activities that keep us in the fresh air, give us that bit more colour to our face, and give us that feeling of getting out of the room, going and being and appreciating what we have, and appreciating the fact that we can get up and get out there and take part in these activities. Made a poultice of things to draw a splinter out of my husband's hand, and a poultice to draw out the badness of an ingrown toenail, and they all worked. And then it came to referring back to some of the winter activities we did, because I had mislaid something very precious to me. And so I tried the manifestation. I've always said, manifestation works. But then I think, well, is it coincidental? Well, when something is lost, as you cannot find it, locate it anywhere. And you think, I've either left it somewhere or it might have been taken. You just don't know. So I made up my own little manifestation thing. It's not in this book, it's in a book downstairs. My own little witchy spell to bring it home. And did it work? Hell yes, it did. That very day I had a message. You left your item here. I'm going to bring it to you. Now, how coincidental is that? Because I had already contacted the person to ask if I'd left it there, and they looked high and low and couldn't find it. And all of a sudden, it just appeared. It was just like, wow, that's weird. It does work. I'm just going through here now to have a look. Let me see. What was that one? Nope. If there's anything else to add to this spring one, what I've been doing so far, no. Those are different activities for a different thing. No, I've actually brought you up to date now. I think, don't know how many pages in that book. So I've brought you up to date with what I've been doing. The Earth Whisperer, I just stopped it when I've got to the point now of working with land energy spread. Okay, and that's a 5-card spread that I'm looking forward to doing tomorrow, because tonight I'm going to turn the light off and go downstairs after a little while. So this has been exciting. Not just the fact that I'm using tarot, using the pendulum, for all these activities, but the fact that I'm incorporating practical activities into my daily life, it gives you an appreciation of some of the difficulties that your ancestors would have faced. For instance, when I planted the trees and the springtime was arriving, everything was blossoming, the weather was picking up. And then we had a frost. And it was, well, are these plants going to survive? Have I done this far too early? Have I made a hames of everything? And then you think, well, no, hold on a second, what can you do? And, you know, getting old blankets to put over the trees that you know will be more susceptible to the frost, and putting sort of buckets of warm water into your greenhouse, because you can't heat it with anything else, otherwise the damn thing will melt because it's made of that polycarbonate plastic. And you know, you sort of have to think along, well, hold on, how am I going to get this done? Even having a greenhouse is you know, more beneficial than what our ancestors would have had to do. It's just their open field. So having successes and having had failures, and working my way around them, problem solving and planning spring planting, planning what I'm going to be doing with the foods that I grow, and planning what I want to grow and why, and will they be suitable for the climate we live in. It's all an activity that really gets you thinking, and it goes from just being a project about the Ancestral Grimoire to almost to being a lifestyle, and it's one I'm thoroughly enjoying. I'm out on the bicycle more too, and in the rain as well, which is unusual for me. No, not always unusual, but you know, not the everyday done thing. So that's where I am at the moment, and something to quickly share with you. I got these. I came across these when I was on a walkabout, and this drew me to them, of course, the Triskelion. There we go, our High Priestess. Taurus. The Pentacle. But this is representing the elements, including spirit. Spiral, Celtic symbol, the spiral there. And the Ankh. Okay. And I thought, well, what exactly are they? They looked so interesting. And of course, these are stones that can be used in pagan practices and Wiccan practices, and used for protection. So, say the pentacle would have been used for protection, or you know, for knowledge, the High Priestess. So for me, at the moment, they're sitting on my desk, and if anybody has these, uses them, I would really appreciate it if you share what you do, and see how we can incorporate these in possibly our ancestral work as well as our own daily practices. So people, that's it for now. I'm going to try and get some of my photos of my outdoor activities on here for you, and to share them with you. So whatever you're doing, I hope you're continuing to enjoy and delve into your ancestral grimoires, and that you're enjoying the project as much as I am. And in about 4 or 5 weeks time, there'll be the second spring one to this, before we head for the summer section, which should be good. Wonder what activities I'll be doing for the summer. Outdoor bathing in the sea. I think it's going to be done. Listen, take care. Whatever you're doing, have a lovely evening, and do, you know, pop down any comments. Please make them constructive criticism, and kind, and enjoy what you're doing, and don't let anybody tell you that you're doing anything wrong, because you're not. You're doing what's good for you. Take care, good night, and I'll catch up with you soon.